Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randirhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
We believe that all men are created equal. The magnificent sensation that is American radio. Change has come to America. Believe me. Who's there? It's a figure of your imagination. Turn up your mind.
And I want you all to know that we are fighting the fake news. It's fake, phony, fake. A few days ago, I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. They are the enemy of the people. Because they have no sources. They just make them up when there are none. I saw one story recently where they said 9 people have confirmed. There are no 9 people. I don't believe there was 1 or 2 people. 9 people. And I said, give me a break, because I know the people. I know who they talk to. There were no 9 people, but they say 9 people. And somebody reads it, and they think, oh, 9 people, they have 9 sources. They make up sources. They're very dishonest people. In fact, in covering my comments, the dishonest media did not explain that I called the fake news the enemy of the people, the fake news. They dropped off the word fake. And all of a sudden, the story became the media is the enemy. They take the word fake out. And now I'm saying, oh, no, this is no good. But that's the way they are.
Oh, my God, this man is a threat. He is a threat. Yesterday, I think, we were going over the dossier and comparing it to what we now know. And we were also looking at Glenn Simpson's testimony to the House Intelligence Committee yesterday, comparing it to what we now know. And so much of the dossier is proven. So much of it is true. So much of the emails now have been shown. So much there's intercepted phone calls that we can rely on now. I mean, there's all this stuff, right? And so I wanted to refresh everybody's memory about what those 35 pages in that dossier said happened between Trump and Russian oligarchs and the Russian mafia and the Italian mafia and Felix Sater, and the fact that Felix Sater has been an FBI informant since 1998, and then in 2002 he partners with Donald Trump on a lot of projects that never come to fruition, but require that Donald Trump agree to do to commit crimes, money laundering, not doing due diligence on whether the buyers of certain apartments were real, not doing due diligence on whether the buyers of the apartments were mobsters or criminals, letting all kinds of gambling rings be run out of Trump Tower, all kinds of, dirty. And it's so interesting. Felix Sater is working in Trump Tower. Paul Manafort's working in Trump Tower. I mean, it's all in Trump Tower. All right. So, that's why I wanted to go over it. Now, while that was going on, there was a story that broke yesterday about a guy, 19-year-old, it turns out, who's calling CNN 22 times in 2 days, and he's being recorded by CNN security and threatening to gun down the entire cast. Okay, this is how he puts it. The entire cast of CNN. Okay, and he's using anti-Semitic phrases. He's using the N-word. He's screaming into the phone. And so the question is, for us, we have to decide, is this attack on the media that Trump, they took out the word fake. Fox is fake. Okay, we know that. Breitbart is fake. We know that. Alex Jones is a fraud. We know that. He's a conspiracy theorist. Drudge puts out a mixture of real news under, doctored headlines to make you click through on his website so he can make money. You've got Sean Hannity, who's a liar. Lou Dobbs is a liar. That's why I stopped doing Lou Dobbs' show years ago. I told this story a million times. I'll tell you one last time. We used to pre-record the show on Tuesdays, and then they would edit it to make, leave me out if I made a good point or include me if, they could doctor what I said. And I finally told him to go F himself in his studio to his face, because I'm no coward, and never came back to his show again because he was a liar. He was a liar. And so now Trump is, on this warpath, arguing with especially MSNBC reporters and Jim Acosta especially, and calling everything that's documentable. The New York Times, the Washington Post, even the Wall Street Journal he attacked last week because they were presenting the story of Stormy Daniels and how Michael Cohen, the dirty lawyer for Donald Trump over all these years, the one that in the dossier was in Prague making deals. And then, of course, the Washington Post had a story saying, yeah, Michael Cohen was trying to build Trump Tower during the campaign, during it. And there are emails to Felix Sater from Michael Cohen saying that Felix Sater and Michael Cohen were going to get two boys from Brooklyn, were going to elect a president, and Michael Cohen was going to get Trump Tower built. I mean, it's emails now. You can see them, right? You can understand. So Trump keeps attacking all the legitimate sourcing, all the legitimate journalists. And it's cold comfort to the people at CNN, and it's cold comfort to journalists across this nation that Trump has put a target on their back and that the FBI found this 19-year-old. He's now free on $10,000 unsecured bond. But we have to decide, is Trump to blame for this kind of violent threat against media people? Is Trump to blame? I mean, you could reasonably argue that Trump isn't to blame for what one of his subjects do, for one of the cult members do, but you could also say that when he targets journalists and institutions, media by name, and frequently says, fake news, enemy of the people, uses Goebbels' own words to attack the legitimate, hardworking journalists in this country, and says he prefers to use Twitter because it's like whispering in someone's ear, a few million at a time, and he can create this unfiltered path towards intimacy with his cult members. Yeah, it's almost like having a conversation with them, which is what his supporters say, okay? Then when do you say that the president is whispering incitement into their ears? Should he, and when should he be held accountable for that? He won't stop.
The press has become so dishonest that if we don't talk about it, we are doing a tremendous disservice to the American people. Tremendous disservice. We have to talk about it to find out what's going on, because the press honestly is out of control. The level of dishonesty is out of control. I turn on the TV, open the newspapers, and I see stories of chaos. Chaos. Yet it is the exact opposite. This administration is running like a fine-tuned machine.
Okay, now since he said that, there's barely anybody left. Nobody is there anymore. Michael Flynn is gone. James Comey is gone. Sally Yates is gone. Who else is gone? I mean, Bannon is gone. Half of his staff is gone, and now we hear stories that Christopher Wray, the second FBI director, the second one, is threatening to quit. Okay, Reince Priebus is gone. Now you have John Kelly moved over from DHS, and now they're talking about, apparently the kids are talking about who's going to replace John Kelly. How could he stand there and call journalism fake when they have reports of absolute chaos in the White House? And looking back at it when he said, we're running like a fine-tooth comb, you look back and nobody's there. Everybody's gone. Everybody has left. Dan Coates is gone. Sam Clovis is gone. Reince Priebus is gone. I mean, and all of them are cooperating. Flynn is gone. And he keeps on saying that the real journalists are lying, and the crazy people that do conspiracy theories. Fox News is doing a conspiracy theory. I'm going to show it to you today because probably you haven't even heard it, because most people who want to actually get the news will not tune in Fox for that. You might tune in Fox to see what crazy people say or what cult members are watching, but you certainly don't tune in to get facts, and you certainly don't tune in to hear, that Christopher Wray is threatening to quit, or that Reince Priebus is cooperating, or that Sean Spicer has been interviewed, or that Hope Hicks has been interviewed, or that Jeff Sessions was interviewed yesterday, or that Stephen Miller's been interviewed, and Michael Flynn is making had made a deal. A Manafort, is facing You know what the charges against Manafort? One of the charges is literally betraying his own country. crimes against the United States. I mean, Gates, his business partner for 10 years, he's got hired another lawyer. You know which lawyer he hired? Tom Green he hired. Does that ring a bell, Howard? Tom Green. Do you know who Tom Green was? Fat Danny Hastritt's lawyer. And speaking of child molesters, did you see this guy today, this Nasser guy? What did he get? 164 years. There were 156 victim impact statements that were produced at his trial. 156 girls, 156 kids, and a university does it. You don't hear anything from the president about, anything that's happening to girls or women. Nothing. You don't hear anything. In fact, the stuff that's happening to girls or women, he's actually caught on tape saying that he does to girls and women. It's such a bizarre world we live in. But this thing about fake news, I got to tell you, it's frightening.
I think it was disgraceful that the intelligence agencies allowed any information that turned out to be so false and fake out. I think it's a disgrace.
This is a dossier.
And I say that. And that's something that Nazi Germany would have done and did do. I think it's a disgrace.
This is him talking about our intel community. Because he has no proof whatsoever. He's talking about the dossier being published in BuzzFeed. And he has absolutely no clue who leaked it to BuzzFeed. No clue. It could have been the clients, right? There were two clients for this dossier, as you know. There was the there was the Free Beacon and a Republican guy named Singer. And then there was Coey Perkins, a law firm for the DNC. Those were the two clients. Who the hell knows who leaked to BuzzFeed the paid-for contents of the dossier? They were the clients. The dossier was delivered to them. But he accuses our intelligence community of being Nazis because he doesn't like what the dossier says. I mean, think about it. Now I'm going to play it to you again in context. Remember, we don't know who BuzzFeed got the dossier from. We have no idea. Could be the clients, right? Could have been Mr. Singer, who paid for research against Donald Trump as a Republican. Could have been anybody at the Washington Beacon, the Free Beacon, who paid for this. Could have been the law firm. Could have been anybody. You don't know who did it. Could have been Glenn Simpson. Although he was asked and he said no, and he was very upset. But the president doesn't wait to find anything out. He stands up and tells his cult members that our intelligence community, and this is important, are a bunch of Nazis.
It was disgraceful that the intelligence agencies allowed any information that turned out to be so false and fake out. I think it's a disgrace. And I say that. And that's something that Nazi Germany would have done and did do. I think it's a disgrace. That information that was false and fake and never happened got released to the public. As far as BuzzFeed, which is a failing pile of garbage,
as opposed to Breitbart,
I think they're going to suffer the consequences. They already are. And as far as CNN going out of their way to build it up, and by the way, we just found out I was coming down. Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen is a very talented lawyer. He's a good lawyer in my firm.
He's the guy who paid off Stormy.
Just reported that it wasn't this Michael Cohen they were talking about. So all night long, it's Michael Cohen. I said, I want to see your passport. He brings his passport to my office. I say, hey, wait a minute. He didn't leave the country. He wasn't out of the country. Michael Cohen of the Trump Organization was in Prague. It turned out to be a different Michael Cohen.
No, it didn't.
It's a disgrace what took place. It's a disgrace. And I think they ought to apologize to start with Michael Cohen.
Sir, since you're attacking us, can you give us a question?
Go ahead.
No, Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking our news organization,
can
you give us a chance?
Your organization
You are attacking our news organization.
Your organization.
Can you give us a chance to ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can you state, Mr. President-elect,
go ahead.
Can you state
She's asking a question. Don't be rude.
Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
You're attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
Can you state categorically that nobody... No, Mr. President-elect, that's not appropriate.
That was Jim Acosta. I can't even... Okay, so here are the excerpts from the calls that this 19-year-old made to CNN. 22 calls. All we have is a few excerpts, and he's screaming into the phone, fake news, I'm coming to gun you all down. F you, effing N-words. I'm coming for you, CNN. I'm smarter than you, more powerful than you. I have more guns than you, more manpower. Your caste is about to get gunned down in a matter of hours. Now, do you think that Trump's declaration that CNN is fake news and this kid's calling CNN fake news and threatening to kill them all at CNN is incitement? Do you think that they're related? Do they have anything to do with each other? Fox says no. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.